In the last stream, we were working on setting up our mystical agriculture infusion altar to allow us to craft these Inferium seeds, which in turn we can now use in our new phytogenic insulator to more quickly and more importantly automatically grow Inferium without having to use our watering can. And I've not done a whole lot between episodes, and so we don't have a ton of Inferium, but one of the things I did do is move the flux linkage amplifier and the hardened integral components back into the phytogenic insulator, so now this is being made almost as fast as we can currently make it, and we do have over 170 Inferium essence, and the very first quest in the next chapter, which is the Echo chapter here of the quest book, wants us to get an Echo shard. These can be obtained by straining Inferium blocks using purified water. And so if we were to do something like this, we can get a couple of blocks of Inferium, and of course the benefit with our purified water strainer is that we do have the everlasting input upgrade in there, and so there's only a 1 in 5 chance that this gets used up. The problem with this setup though is I'm assuming that if we want to get Echo shards, we need either a gold, quartz, or amethyst mesh. That is indeed correct. Thankfully, our other system over here and over here has been chugging along, and so we do have quite a bit of gold coming in. And so if we quickly do something like this, we can get yet another gold mesh. Of course, throw that over into this strainer right here, and that should begin processing and should eventually get us some Echo shards. The default percentage chance here is only 40%, so we're not guaranteed to get an Echo shard here, and it might take a couple of attempts to get us there, but given how fast the Inferium is coming in, and given the fact that the strainer here is not guaranteed to use the Inferium block, as we saw just then, I think we should be able to get quite a few of these Echo shards quite quickly. These are going to be used to make our first tier 5 mesh, the Echo Shard mesh, which in turn is going to let us, you guessed it, sift even more stuff using our strainers. Specifically here, we are going to get the Diamond Dust and the Prosperity Shards. These both do require the Echo mesh. In terms of the Prosperity Shard, we need to sift some Apatite, and then in terms of the Diamond Dust here, we need to sift the Inferium block. Although it looks like actually we might get that very soon, because it looks like that is a chance with the setup that we currently have. Oh no, it's not. Never mind. We need the next tier mesh. Sure. Even then, it's only a 30% chance. So again, not particularly likely. If we can get one more Echo shard here, we can potentially make this mesh right away. Never looking. Either way, while we wait for that to happen, what I do want to do is I do want to do a little bit of base building work. Between streams, I did go ahead and process some more fish. I also made a new bait box to get even more fish, and I got some more of these key fragments because I do want to get a few more room keys, specifically a few more of these normal room keys. So let me make 2 more short, and then we'll craft those into 2 more normal room keys. Because what I am thinking of doing here is kind of making a bit of a giga room over at the back here. I want to build a new room here and a new room here, and then I want to start tearing down some walls. I mentioned last episode kind of tearing down these corner blocks here between this room, and this room, and now I'm going to take that one step further. I'm going to kind of rip out this wall here and this wall here to make one super wide room that also kind of connects vaguely to this room, and I'll probably take out some of these walls as well to make one rather large and almost T-shaped room. Real quick, whilst we're doing this building here, I do want to work on beginning to get some diamond dust, and so I am going to take a quick detour now that we have the 5 Echo shards to get the Echo mesh, and then we'll go ahead and just replace, whoops, that's not the right watt pipe. We want this one here. We can go ahead and replace the current gold mesh with the Echo mesh, and that is going to allow us to start passively getting the diamond dust here, and at some point I might also go ahead and swap out the Inferium blocks, which I will put some more of in, by the way. I'll get a few more of these Inferium blocks in here, but we'll also swap out that Inferium block for some Apatite so we can start getting some of the Prosperity Shards as well. Alright, so a fair bit of building work later, and we now have this rather large room. So it's 3 rooms wide at the back, and then it's kind of 2 rooms and a corridor wide at the front. I did have to do some work kind of in the ocean up at the top here to make this work, because before we just had the top bit of the hallway here, or the corridor is only obviously one tall, and you can't easily build a corridor on top of a corridor, and so we did have to get rid of this bit here, and I've added a bit of a staircase slope. You can craft these light blue stairs super easily just with the light blue colored stone bricks. And so yeah, we now got a nice big room. Over at the bank here, I have done some small tweaking to make this slightly more compact. If I just do this, we can fail to jump over, and once we get up, the general premise, of course, is still the same. Here and here we have the pink planks being exported to the steam boilers. We've then got our aqueous accumulator providing them with water. That steam then gets pumped up into the steam dynamo. We, of course, do have space for another boiler and 2 more dynamos, at least for now. We could always expand that in the future if we wanted to. And then we've got power coming off of that, going into the top of all of these machines. Along the front, we have our magma crucible, fluid encapsulator, multi-servo press, pulverizer, induction smelter, and the blast chiller that we made right at the end of the last episode. And then around on the side here, we've got our phytogenic insulator, which is pumping down now as opposed to up into this drawer, and of course pulling up from that drawer as well to keep the seeds going. Speaking of which, that is not working, and I'm not quite sure why. That is set to both push and pull. I feel like that should work. Let me give this a second and see if it does work. Yeah, it works. Okay, cool, fantastic. And then around here, we've got the crystallizer. The reason that these guys are on the other side is because they have access to water. And so now, instead of having that horribly long fluid duct going around each side, we just have a tiny little bit of fluid duct on the left and right that connect up both the crystallizer and the phytogenic insulator to water. And so that has allowed us to kind of compact that down a little bit, and we do have some aquatic torches here to kind of light up this area a little bit, because now without all of the luminous glass, it is a little bit darker than it was previously. And there's still more stuff that I'd like to do. Of course, right now we do still have a strainage kind of haphazardly sitting in the middle of the room, and I do want to rectify that at some point in the not-so-distant future. But before we do, I do want to make some progress with the quest line here. So in here, we have processed quite a bit of Inferium and quite a bit of Apatite. The Apatite gets us the Prosperity Shards here. The Prosperity Shards are a super low chance, only a 10% chance by default, which is not ideal. And so we don't have really that many of these, but this has been going for a little while. Thankfully, though, I think we might have enough of all of these to make some progress in the quest line. Over here in the crystallizer, we can throw in the diamond dust. That is going to get us actual diamonds. And then in terms of this prosperity gemstone here, this is just 1 diamond with 4 prosperity shards. And then after that, we can make this Inferium infusion crystal, which I think I talked about a little bit at the end of the last episode. This requires the prosperity gemstone crafted with some Inferium to make an Inferium gemstone, and then we need more prosperity shards and more Inferium essence. This is going to allow us to upgrade our Inferium to Prudentium, which is the next tier of essence. For those that don't know, there are, I think, 6 tiers of essence from Mystical Agriculture: Inferium, then Prudentium, then Tertium, then Imperium, then Supremium, and then Insanium is usually next up, and then I guess Creative is after that, but this is makeable. I didn't think this would be makeable, but it is. And then I also noticed Awakened Supremium Essence. I've not seen that before, and it doesn't look like there's any recipe for it in this pack, but those are the 6 to 8 tiers of essence that we can make, and obviously we're going to work on moving from Inferium up to Prudentium. It is a 4-to-1, so for every 4 Inferium, you only get 1 Prudentium, and that's the same all the way up the chain. It takes 4 of the previous tier to make 1 of the next tier, and hopefully that's not going to be too bad for us. One thing we are 100% going to have to do here is either invest in more of these crystallizers, or at the very, very least, look at getting a few more of these integral components and flux linkage amplifiers to make that crystallizer way faster, because right now it is far too slow. It looks like it's not moving, but it definitely is moving. It's just really, really, really slow. It takes 20,000 redstone flux total to make this happen, and we're transferring in 5 redstone flux per tick. It's just staggeringly slow. But eventually, we do get a single diamond. Fantastic, which does complete the quest and does allow us to proceed forwards here. So let me quickly teleport back, and let's see if we can't make this happen. So if we do something like this, we get our prosperity gemstone. If we craft that prosperity gemstone with 2 Inferium, we get our Inferium gemstone. And then if we craft that with 4 more Inferium and 4 more prosperity shards, we get our Inferium infusion crystal. And then now, finally, we can indeed go ahead and use that with our Inferium to make some Prudentium. Nice. And the Prudentium here is actually used straight up as a crafting ingredient for emerald dust. So 4 prudentium plus 1 diamond gets us 1 emerald dust, and I'm going to take a guess that we need to then use that emerald dust in the crystallizer to make the emerald. We do, and it requires the same amount of power as the diamond, so it's going to be equally as slow. And so I guess, real quick then, I am going to go ahead and make 1 more of the hardened integral components, this guy right here. We just need some more invar and another gold gear, that's fine. And I think I will look to make at least 3 more of these flux linkage amplifiers, because they're also not too difficult to make, especially now that we have over 400 lead. That's really the main ingredient in getting these lead gears. We'll make at least 3 of those, because 3 is the maximum that you can put into any given machine, as well as, of course, the integral component. And we'll see if we can't make this guy over here just as fast as humanly possible. And over here, I'm not quite sure how many prosperity shards we have now. We've got 8, and I'm also not sure how many we're going to need going forward, but I do think we're probably going to need more diamonds going forward, and so I'm kind of tempted, before we put more apatite in, to instead just put more blocks of Inferium in. Also, real quick, I do think that I might be able to make another crafting terminal here, hopefully fairly easily if we've got enough bronze, and I'm assuming that I can have more than 1 crafting terminal in a given network. We are completely out of driftwood. I keep forgetting about the fact that we're out of driftwood. Let me go ahead and craft up another wood catcher here, and let's see. I don't think we have a spare strainer at the moment. All of our strainers are over here. I think all of our strainers are kind of being used currently, which is not ideal. We could swap something out, but what we should really do instead is we should make a new strainer to get more wood with the woodcatcher, and we should also make more meshes for every single one of these strainers as well, because they are all completely out. And so, real quick, what I'm going to do, I'm going to make a new strainer. We'll do that, of course, with ideally not an iron mesh. I think, do we have, let me bookmark both of these. Do we have wooden meshes? We do. These are going to be by far the easiest. I think I mentioned string before, but I think that the wooden meshes are even easier than the leaf meshes. We can quickly do something like this. We'll throw this down somewhere for now. I guess we'll put it over in the straining room. I guess we could put it potentially even right about here. I think that works just fine. We'll do this. We'll get some water in there, and we'll get a mesh in there as well. And so I'm going to go ahead and make a ton of meshes for all of those strainers. And then I'm also going to put some Inferium into our strainer over here. And then whilst we have all that to strain, I'm going to make another hardened integral component and 3 more flux linkage amplifiers. And not too long later, we now have the extra equipment here, and so we should be able to make this, hopefully, a lot faster. So we're going to double from 5 to 10, and then we're going to quadruple from 10 to 40, taking us to 8 times as fast as we were going just a second ago. And you can see now this is, in fact, moving at a much more reasonable speed. And so now it's just a case of us taking those diamonds and crafting them with even more of the prudentium. So we only have the 1 prudentium, however, we do have our infusion crystal. This does have a limited number of uses on it, so it's not infinite. It will only work 255 times. Real quick, what I was going to do before I realized we were out of driftwood is I was going to go ahead and make another one of these crafting terminals. The reason for that is that I want to put one in the new room connected to the exact same system, just so we don't have to walk back and forth exclusively to get access to this crafting grid. I think what we should be able to do is craft up 4 of these, craft up a storage terminal if we get just 1 more batch of inventory cable, and then from there we can craft that storage terminal into the crafting terminal just as soon as we craft up 2 more crafting tables, boom and boom, and hopefully what we should be able to do here is get... Actually, this might not work. I don't know if you can have more than 1 inventory connector on the network. And we did see before that you can't put the crafting terminal down on just a pipe. That doesn't work. Let me try 2 things then here. We're going to do some testing. I'm going to make another inventory connector. Before I do that, though, I'm also going to make an inventory connector cable, because the inventory connector cable might also work. So this is the setup that I think is not going to work. If I find my framed cable, which is like here, can I do this? That doesn't work. I already know, because we tested it before, that just putting this on here doesn't work. I was kind of wondering if we might be able to put this down in such a way that we connect the inventory cable connected to it. It makes no sense that it would work, but I'm going to try it real quick. If we do something like this, I'm assuming that doesn't work. That totally does work. Interesting. Okay, that actually makes that somewhat useful. So in that case, then what I think I'll do is I'll put this down like this. We'll break this guy here, and we'll put that down like that. And there we now have access to this without having to go all the way back over there as well, which is quite useful. So over here now, we should be able to craft in here. We want to take some of our Inferium that we have here, and we want to craft that up into the Prudentium. So we'll do something like this, and we will take our crystal, and we initially only need 4 to make 1 emerald, but I'll make a few more here because I have a feeling we're going to need more than 1 emerald going forward. And then if we do something like this and like this, we can go ahead and make some of this emerald dust. And if we place that emerald dust over into our newly faster crystallizer, we should be able, I was really hoping that wouldn't reset, but we should be able to begin turning that emerald dust into actual emeralds. The power seems to be just about holding steady. We should definitely look at getting another hardened integral component for the dynamo as well to increase the power output on that. In fact, that really shouldn't be too difficult for us to do. It's 4 gold for a gold gear, boom and boom, and then it's just some more invar. We've got a ton of iron. Well, we've got some iron, we've got a ton of nickel. If we go and throw both of those into here, like that, we should then be able to get a fair amount of invar, and the invar combined with the gold gears is really all we need for the hardened upgrade kits. So I'll make a few more gold gears as well, just in case we need to make any of our other machines faster, or if we decide that we want to put down more dynamos and make those faster as well. But that should be basically everything for another one of these. We're only missing a little bit of glass, and I did start smelting up a bunch of sand into glass when making the first hardened integral component, and so now back over here, we should be able to make this work. Nice. And we can just go ahead and whack that into our dynamo, and that's going to double the amount of power that our dynamo produces from the default 80 redstone flux per tick up to 160 redstone flux per tick, albeit it is going to burn more steam. And so by the looks of it, we're also probably going to want to get another Stirling boiler as well. Thankfully, those, if memory serves me right, were pretty straightforward. They were indeed. Nice. And then finally, it's just another one of these attachment servers so we can actually extract the water. Although, actually, the water's fine. We can put the water down. We can put this down like here, and that's fine from a water standpoint, but we do then need to use the attachment server to extract from the boiler itself. So we need to rotate this, ideally, to point upwards, like that. And then also, ideally, we want this to connect here, so let me replace that down like so, and let me throw down the attachment server. Cool. That should work. The final piece of the puzzle, of course, is going to be to get another one of these basic inventory hoppers and connect that up in such a way that it does, in fact, export wood. Boom, and then we can just steal some of you from here, and boom. Cool. Chat was also asking if you can put integral components into the boilers as well. I would assume that you can. I can't see a good reason why you wouldn't be able to. Let me quickly give that a try. I assume that's going to increase the amount of steam produced. So if we just right click this, say onto our new boiler, that presumably, yeah, doubles the steam production from 20 to 40 millibuckets per tick. Nice. So hopefully now we're producing maybe more steam than is necessary to run this, although it looks like right now it is kind of tearing through that steam, so only time will tell, but we do have 3 emeralds completing this quest here, and I should have really known, but we need 5 emeralds in order to make the emerald mesh. So we need to complete the craft here 2 more times, which means we do need to get at least 5 more of the Prudentium. We've got 3 right now. 1 more gets us 1 emerald, and then 4 more after that is going to get us our 2nd emerald. So let me go and get another batch of Inferium. This is still coming in quite nicely. We've got even more than we had at the start of the episode. Let's real quick try this again, although I have a feeling that's not going to shift click in because the durability on the crystal now is lower, so it doesn't want to work. That is completely fine. Boom and boom. Cool. That should be everything for 2 more of these. Boom and boom. And then we'll take both of those, whack them over in the crystallizer. And while we wait for that to finish, I believe that we do now have what it takes to make the time in a bottle. This is a super nifty item that's going to allow us to speed things up. It's going to allow us to store time, as the name would suggest, inside of the bottle and use that time to speed machines up in the future. So as we hold this in our inventory, every second that we have it, it increases in time. You'll see right now the stored time is 8 seconds, 9 seconds, 10 seconds, 11 seconds, etc. And the longer we hold it, the more time is going to be in that bottle. You can only use one at a time. If you put more than one in your inventory, it just won't work. So you are limited to just one time in a bottle. The idea here, though, is that you can then spend that time to make things faster. For example, over here, if we right-click with our time in a bottle, shift right-click once we get to 30 seconds, boom, we can then spend that 30 seconds to make this twice as fast for a very short period of time. I think it works for about 30 seconds, maybe 15 seconds. The more time you have, the more times you can shift right-click, and you can go from 2 times as fast to 4 times as fast to 8 to 16 to 64, 128, and I think 256 is the maximum. And so if you have a good amount of time in your bottle, you can really make something a lot faster than it otherwise would have been. And so for now, we're just going to hold on to this and start building up a nice backlog of time. But in the future, we are hopefully going to be able to make things much, much faster than they currently are. Now that we have access to 5 emeralds, we should be able to make our very first emerald mesh. Perfect. Not only is that going to massively increase our chance of getting prosperity shards if we were to put some appetite into that strainer. Speaking of appetite, let's go and get that cooking over in here as well. This should now be a lot faster because this only takes 5,000 redstone flux, so it should be 4 times faster than the diamond and emerald dust. This is going to give us the prosperity shards much more regularly now because we're quadrupling the chance from 10% to 40%. But we can also now look at getting bedrock-infused obsidian. The bedrock-infused obsidian is made, you guessed it, in a strainer with obsidian and then bedrock, which is interesting. So this says bedrock-infused obsidian, and that's all it says. So I am intrigued as to how we get bedrock above the strainer, because I don't see a recipe for bedrock that we can make here. The obsidian, though, I think we can make using the blast chiller. We do have lava over in here. We got a bucket of lava a few episodes ago by putting cobblestone into the magma crucible. And in fact, I do think that we should right away here go and put even more cobblestone into our magma crucible. I am going to turn this auto eject off because I don't want that lava going into the fluid encapsulator. I do want to leave the lava in the magma crucible here. We can then put this lava into the blast chiller, and that's going to slowly but surely chill that down into a block of obsidian. Over here, though, let me quickly take this. Let me throw that in here, and we can start getting more prosperity shards if we need them in the future. But now we need to figure out how we're going to get bedrock underneath our wooden strainer. So there's our obsidian. That's good. I do think if we're going to go to the Nether, which is the first quest in the next quest line, we are going to need to get enough obsidian to build a Nether portal. And so I'll leave the magma crucible here running to slowly but surely back up on lava. And in fact, I might even set that to output. That's going to push it over here, which is fine because I believe we can then just put a bucket in here and that will put the lava into the bucket. The reason I'm doing that is just so that now instead of being able to hold just 8 buckets, we can hold 8 buckets in here and 8 buckets in here, giving us 16 buckets of lava in total. And I think that we're just going to have to go down to the bottom of the world and try and find some bedrock that we can put our strainer underneath. So let me get 2 more wooden meshes, the exact same ones we made earlier in the episode. Let's get another wooden strainer. And then down at the bottom of the world, I guess we're going to take our obsidian. We're also going to take our input upgrade here as well and our emerald mesh. And then our pickaxe looks like it's got pretty good durability. We should, actually, one thing I should take before I forget is I should take some aquatic torches as well so that we can actually see when we go down, because last time we went down here, it was incredibly dark. If we can find the same hole that we went down previously, then we can kind of skip a bit of the work because we did dig a little bit of a staircase down in a previous episode. If we can't, it's really not going to be the end of the world. We can just dig down again using the same staircase setup. And I have no idea where that tunnel was previously. And so I guess over here, let's get down as far as we can. And then using our shovel, we can shift and scroll with the ultimine key held down. And we're going to go for mining tunnel like this. And that's good. And then we're going to take our pickaxe. We're probably going to need to get another pickaxe because this is real low on durability. But if we do something like that, we should be able to start heading down into the mines here, like this. And the idea is going to be that we're trying to get down to bedrock. Of course, ideally here, I'd also like to get this built up I'd like to mine the block above me so I'm not banging my head all the way down. Real quick, let's do a /home, and let's grab maybe like 2 more iron pickaxes. We can then do /back. That's going to take us here. We can also do this, and this is not stone. We can do that, and we can do this. And we can also do that. That's going to block us in, but it's also going to get rid of this water, which is like slowly but surely carrying us down against our will, which I think is going to be ideal. And so we should now, hopefully, be able to make our way down to bedrock. All right, so we found bedrock here. We've gone all the way down to bedrock. And so now, hopefully, if we just shapeless mine around here, I'm hopeful that we can find a piece of bedrock that has like a hole beneath it. That is kind of what we're looking for, so that we can put our strainer under the bedrock and try and use that to strain this obsidian. And then hopefully using our everlasting input upgrade, we can kind of reuse that obsidian over and over again. Here we go. Okay, perfect. So let's do one of these, and then let's do this, this, and this. So now we should still get the benefit, of course, of only using the obsidian 1 in every 5 times, because we've got an 80% chance that it doesn't get used, and we have a 100% chance of getting bedrock infused obsidian. The next quest down here wants us to make bedrock chunks, which we get by straining the bedrock infused obsidian in eroding water. Again, a 100% chance, which is pretty good. We need 6 of those chunks to make a bedrock ingot, and then we need 3 of those to make a bedrock pickaxe. And so, depending on how lucky we get, we might not need that much more obsidian, but if we get unlucky, it's quite possible we do need to get some more obsidian down here. The good news is that didn't get used up, but the good news as well is that over here, we did find on our way down a pool of lava. And so we can go ahead and steal the lava that is here, like that. And if we need more, of course, we can come back down. We can use this back at home over in our blast chiller to make more obsidian. Nice. And I think I'm probably going to have to turn this off, because having all of those run at once just doesn't work. This guy here uses 80 redstone flux per tick. This guy over here also uses 80 redstone flux per tick. We're only producing 160, and so having anything other than those 2 machines on at the same time just completely breaks it. Thankfully, the blast chiller uses way less power, just 20, and so long as you don't... Okay, there goes my bucket. That's fine. So long as you don't burn to death, which is quite the achievement if you are completely underwater. Let me just do this. We did lose a bucket, but that's fine. We could have lost much more if we'd have died in the water. Let me dump all of this out into here. Let's do a quick /back. Oh, we got a 10-second cooldown. Once our cooldown is up, we'll do a quick /back, and we'll go see how we're doing on bedrock chunks, because I don't think we're going to need that many more than what we have. How many do we have? We have got 2. It might have stopped working when we went away because the chunk is not loaded, but now we just need to take that up into our other strainer. I am going to wait. I am going to take the everlasting input upgrade away with me. And so what we'll do now is I'm going to keep taking lava back up to the surface and putting it in the blast chiller, and I'm just going to wait for this obsidian to finally get used. Oh, and of course, chat is right here that we can use the time in a bottle if we want to make this faster. So if I do this, we can go 2x, 4x, and potentially even faster as well if we want 8x. And you'll see this now does go a fair bit faster. We could even go 16x if we wanted to, spending even more time out of our bottle. But you'll see we are making the strainer substantially faster using that time in a bottle. And there we go, that's broken. Perfect. So I will leave this here for now because we might need to come back. But I'm hopeful that instead, what we should be able to do is steal a little bit more lava, do a quick /home. We're then going to place the everlasting upgrade with our infused bedrock into just one of our strainers here that has eroding water above it. For now, what we'll do is we'll hijack this cobblestone one, and we'll do something like this, and like this, and of course like this as well. For now, I'll put the cobblestone back in there, and of course, again, we can go 2, 4, 8, 16, and hopefully, we're going to get enough of these chunks. So we need quite a few, 6 per ingot, right, and we need 3 ingots. So we need 18 of these chunks in total. We should get that, because if it only gets used every 1 in 5 times, that means you get approximately 5 bedrock chunks per 1 bedrock infused obsidian, which means you'd expect to get about 25 bedrock chunks from 5 bedrock infused obsidian. Let's go give that a look. Do we have enough of the chunks here? We got 6 chunks, which is perfect. We should now be able to use those to make our first Bedrockium ingot. Oh, of course, we do have to have 1 chunk in our inventory, sure. Perfect. And yeah, I think we should be good to go here. I think we should be fine. We should be able to make that bedrock pickaxe. As soon as we get the bedrock pickaxe, we can go back down to bedrock. We can pick up the strainer that's there, and we can also pick up the bedrock above it as well and bring that back up to the surface so that we don't have to head down to the bottom of the world every single time we want a little bit of bedrock. Over here, we're well on our way to having enough obsidian to make a nether portal as well, which is going to be our next task because we do, of course, need to head through to the nether for the next chapter of the quest book. So can I make a second one of these? I cannot. That is not ideal, but that's because my time in a bottle speed up has worn out here. Let me do this again. We can't go up to 32x, so 16x is the maximum here. But now it's kind of just a waiting game in terms of waiting for all of the bedrock chunks to either come in or not come in. I'm really hopeful that we do get enough bedrock chunks from the bedrock infused obsidian that we have here, but all we can do is wait and see. And there we go, we got 12 bedrock chunks, and the system is still going, so we should hopefully get more chunks as well. Again, 25 is the kind of expected amount there, but now that quest is complete, and in theory, we just need one more diamond to make our pickaxe. So, of course, on the diamond front, we do have diamond dust. You'll have to see it. Let's whack that in over there. That is going to take a second. Our time in a bottle isn't in a great situation. We could try and make this a little bit faster, but we don't have that much time in it now that we've spent it all making other stuff faster. The obsidian we do have, and so I do believe we have what it takes now to make a nether portal. I'm assuming that's how we get to the nether because I don't see any other quest that talks about getting to the nether in a different manner. We also have our diamond, and so now back over here, we should be able to make the bedrock pickaxe. Perfect. That's going to get us the quest complete. And then down here, it says the big jump. Before I tick that, let's do a quick slash back. Let's go see if we can't use this guy to pick up both the strainer and the bedrock. So you can break bedrock with it. You'll see the tick in the top left there. It just takes a little bit of time, even with the bedrock pickaxe. And there we go. Perfect. All right. So quick slash home again. Let's get that down somewhere. I do kind of want all of my strainers in the strainer room, but the strainer room is getting a little full at this point in time. I'm going to put it somewhat awkwardly like here for now. And we can always use that again should we need it. I am going to swap this back out because I don't want to waste our emerald mesh on turning cobblestone into gravel. It does last a long time, much longer than the iron mesh, but I don't want to have to make 5 more emeralds if it turns out we need it for one rogue item. Back over here, we can take out these diamonds as well. And now I think we might be ready to take the big jump, as it were. Down here, take the quest. We get a hang glider as a reward. What's the worst that can happen? And it isn't really explained. Break into the nether after eating the apple of accent. Jump on the roof of the nether to return to the overworld. Nether roof. Right-click to ascend to the nether roof. Visit the dimension, the nether. Apple of... Oh, ascent, not accent. It says accent here, and then it says ascent here. When eaten, it will give you a jump boost for 100 seconds. Jump on the roof of the nether and the colored caves dimension to ascend. So it doesn't say how we get to the nether. My assumption is that we build a nether portal, but the Twitch chat is telling me that we actually dig down beneath the bedrock. If that's the case, then I feel like they need to add that to the quest book there to make that a bit more apparent. One thing we should do that people have pointed out is we should get some warp pipes so that we can teleport down to that bedrock more easily. If that's the case, let me do this. Well, the wallet is empty. Excuse me? Have I spent all my B-Bucks? I don't think I spent all my B-Bucks. So I feel like that might have broken. Oh no, there we go. We got 139 B-Bucks when I put like 30 in. Anyway, let's do this. Let me get I'll get some different colored warp pipes. I'm gonna get some red ones. These are the nether warp pipes I'm gonna use. And I'm just gonna put this down maybe in a corner somewhere. And then we'll link it up to our little area down below. So let's do this and this. And then a quick one of these. And of course, a quick one of these. And then do we have our pipe linking wrench? We do not. Is it in here? It is. Perfect. So let me shift right click here. Wrench bound. And then if we do a quick slash back, I think... Oh, I'm a fool! Okay, fine. I need to go find the hole again, which I think is down here somewhere. I remember it being near this pillar where... There it is. Nope. No, that's not it. Oh, gosh. I made a mistake here, chat. Oh, no, here it is. This looks right. Here we go. So let's try that again. If I put this here, and then I shift right click again, hopefully now, look at that. We can teleport there, and we can teleport back. Nice. All right, so I guess in that case then, let me try. I'm going to go mining tunnel. I'm going to ultimine the... Actually, you know what? No, I'll go shapeless. We'll go shapeless here. We'll mine like a big area of bedrock, and we'll see if that allows us to go through to the nether. I'm going to stand off the bedrock so that I can not fall directly in. And we'll see if this works. All right, so it turns out the ultimine doesn't really work with this. You'll see at the top left there, it says Bedrock Minecraft. As soon as you start breaking it, it changes to Bedrock from the Bedrock Miner mod. And so I think if you were to like left click on all these first and then ultimine them, it might work. But just ultimating normally, it doesn't really break that many blocks. But I think if we jump down there, that's going to teleport us through to the nether, which I think is why we have this hang glider. But I'm going to be rude here and leave this episode on a bit of a cliffhanger because we're out of time for this episode of Submerged.